Ready?
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, November 20th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Caveney?
Here.
Trustee Crowley?
Here.
Trustee Gillis?
Here.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Killily?
Here.
Trustee Kreis?
Here.
Mayor LaRue?
Here.
And with that, we quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to be made a matter of public record, please stand, state your name and address. Anyone tonight? Rita.
Just a reminder that tomorrow night at the library, Rochelle Pennington is speaking again at 6:30 on the Christmas miracle in World War I, where they all ceased fire for Christmas that one year. She's a very good speaker. It'll be a good program.
Okay, then I will close the floor to public comment. Move on to trustee business. Trustee Perry.
Thank you. Just a couple updates. We Keep Midlothian Beautiful Board Steering Committee meeting is tomorrow at noon. And I did send the board all of the information that I received. I attended the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Housing and Community Development Collaborative last Thursday. And they had a presentation there from Rockford that was given at the Illinois Municipal League, and I sent you all the documentation. It was 30 pages of documentation on how they deal with blight in Rockford, and Rockford is a non-home rule community. The residents voted against to make them not home rule, but they have done some really incredible things. And I did pick up some pointers, a few pointers, but I'm really happy that a lot of the things that they pointed out, our building department is already doing, and our work through the abandonment process with the South Suburban Land Bank is also doing what they're doing in Rockford. So it was extremely well attended. I think everybody's dealing with this in the south suburbs, the same issues. But I did provide you with the entire presentation.
I did not get a chance to look at it because I was out of town, but I'm just curious, what were some of the pointers you picked up?
They file their FDOs, and they file their FDOs and write their circuit court.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Pardon me?
We talked about that.
They do. They file their FDOs, and also I'm still working behind the scenes on the no cash bid for Kedzie, and I came up with some other ideas that I'm gonna wait and see how this goes. I'm working on the potential no cash bid. Still waiting for information from the county, and trying to line up the paperwork to submit to Sylvia Parham in Cook County in the event they do get CDBG demolition money. So it was good. It was just good to listen to how they're addressing their issues. And again, Rockford is much larger than Midlothian.
Do you know if out in Rockford they can file their stuff electronically, or if they have to send someone to the courthouse?
That I don't know. That I do not know.
And do they file every single FDO, no matter what the dollar amount is?
They did
or do
not
wait
say.
till
They just
get
said
to
they file FDOs. What they did was they had 2 days, they did 2 presentations at IML, and they condensed it into one for these purposes. But it was really good. It was really interesting. I think if you look at the history and how they've addressed some of these blights, and they've repurposed these buildings now, some of it through abandonment, some of it with a lot of legal negotiation. They really have made some real inroads. And I believe that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Rita, you have something?
What's the next bill?
Findings decision order. Findings decision order. If they come into our court, into our moves court, the judge will issue a findings decision order. I'm sorry.
In some places, they place a lien against the property.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Ivan?
Thank you, Mayor. The village received confirmation today that BAM, Bond America, will issue the bonds that the village is going to issue. So this is a huge win for us because it will result in the village being able to get a lower interest rate on the bonds that we're working through. Also tomorrow, we still have the Standard & Poor's committee meeting, while they'll be rating the village. And we should have an answer late tomorrow afternoon on that rating.
So, they already came and toured the village last week, right?
Who?
Yeah.
Standard & Poor's? Did they have a meeting?
They have a conference call, Stefan with,
There was an all-day conference call with all of them, yeah, with all the bond guys and the rating guys.
So we should hear from Standard & Poor's tomorrow?
It goes to their committee tomorrow. So we're hoping to hear by tomorrow afternoon. But you know as well as I do how quickly committees work.
Right.
So, the other thing I wanted to mention is the audit field work for fiscal year 2019 is almost complete. So again, if we get it done before the end of the year, the calendar year that is, that will also help with the interest rates and stuff from the bonds. So it's a win-win on the financial side, and that's all for me.
we're passing on the, we're going to postpone the,
Yes, I am not making any motions.
Trustee Gillis.
Yes, there's a waiver request for the property in 14475 Waverly, Rescue Restoration. They're doing some renovation on the second floor, adding offices, and they are complying with NFPA 13 and 72, which is sprinkler and heat and smoke detectors. What they are asking for is a waiver on the warehouse area that has been used for the past 20 years that will not be sprinkled. It will be covered by its current smoke detectors, but he is asking a waiver not to sprinkle that area which hasn't been sprinkled for the last 20 years. So he actually doesn't have to comply because it's been existing that way. And he is aware that if the property is sold, that he would have to have it in compliance at that time, so.
I spoke to Chief Hotwagner, he agrees with the waiver,
Yes.
he's okay with that.
How large is the warehouse? Do you know how many square feet?
No, I don't.
So do we need to approve a waiver because it's already grandfathered in? Or is it just for
Because he is
information?
doing renovations,
Yeah, this isn't grandfathered. You're grandfathered in, but as soon as you pull a permit to do work, then the grandfather goes away, and you're required to bring the whole building up to compliance, is my understanding, correct?
yes. So he can apply for a waiver at that time. I mean, we can deny it or we can approve it, so I assume that he wants to have this waiver approved as soon as possible. So I don't know if that's something we can do tonight, because it is on the agenda.
We can put it on the consent agenda for next week.
Okay.
So, well, going forward, this is the first time that a request for a waiver has come before us that I can recall since I've been sitting on the board. And being that I am, am the liaison to the building department, I don't know how Superintendent Weinert feels about it, but I'm concerned that village has an ordinance on its books that we're not.
Well, the waiver is also on the books,
Yeah.
too.
Is that part of it? But is
Yes.
that part of a building
The fire
department?
chief can
or is-
make a recommendation.
Or
to-
is that under a fire department ordinance or a building department ordinance?
I believe it's under the fire department. I went with the chief and talked to the architect and also to the owners of the building. What they're doing is they're adding 2 offices on the second floor. And they have front half of the building is already sprinkled. So they're going to sprinkle the 2 new offices they put in. As far as the warehouse in the back, it'll be fully covered as it is now with smoke and heat detectors and FDA safety compliant. So they want to expand by taking a big conference room and making like 2 offices, all right, on the second floor. And that's the extent of the renovations.
Right.
All right, so
They're not renovating the warehouse.
they're not renovating the warehouse or touching it at all. The other problem they have, my understanding is down Waverly, is they have water main and size issues That's why that building was sprinkled, was going to be offices done, and not the warehouse. So the biggest maintenance we went into there, from what I understand, is 4 inches. Where if they ever try to sprinkle the warehouse, you have a city water main problem. And you wouldn't be able to put in a large enough main to supply the building to be in compliance with NFPA 13.
To Trustee Cagney's point, I would strongly recommend that the fire chief and the building superintendent put everything that you've just said in writing for the file. The liability for the village comes in that someone gets injured as a result of this waiver, or that another warehouse or another business applies for the waiver and is denied. So I think it's important that the village have these findings. I believe that under the ordinance, there is grounds for a waiver,
Yes.
and all we need to do is put the grounds for it in that written decision, so that we have it on record.
Well, the bottom line is he's not renovating the warehouse. He's only renovating the office area which he is going to sprinkler, so.
Well, if we have that water main problem going down Waverly, given that that whole stretch of Waverly is zoned office industrial, isn't that going to pose a problem for any future business or building owner down that road?
Yes.
Yep.
And what's the village's intent? Are we going to continue to waive our own ordinance? Should we change the ordinance? I mean, it seems like we've got ordinances on the books here with regards to life safety issues and building issues that the village doesn't uphold.
It's not true. There is a condition in the ordinance that allows for, by recommendation of the fire chief, a waiver not to sprinkler.
Okay.
That was written in the ordinance, so we are abiding by the ordinance. So Trustee Gillis brings it up to the board is fully aware of what's going on, and we are abiding by the ordinance. So
Okay.
So I will.
Yeah, I'll make sure I read
Yes.
that ordinance so I'm up to date on it then.
Yeah, I think, and this just once again, I mean, if he wanted to go forward and sprinkle the building, I believe that tax deduction is still available. You would have CalSag Enterprise Zone benefits, which are, well, they are, but they're not like, but this again makes a case for why that should be included in a TIF. Because that certainly, those would be TIF eligible expenses, and
Yes.
I guess my concern is I just keep going back to what happened at Midwest. And how often are people in that warehouse? How often are employees in that warehouse?
The warehouse is primarily used for storage. That rescue takes in every fire damaged goods, cleans them all up, and if you go inside, it kind of looks like a public storage facility, you know, where it's
Yeah, they have
houses are stored in
dehumidifiers.
lockers. So when they have something come in, they have a couple people in the back, clean and wash everything, catalog it, put it away. But the brunt of their work is on the field, collecting everything, cataloging everything, and getting whatever they put out back there. Like a Serv Pro does, a service master does after car, that's what they do.
it's a minimum employee.
Right, and when I was there, I think there was 3 ladies in the washing clothes, you know, the washing machines.
So if there, did I hear you correctly when you said there's a problem with sprinkling in the warehouse because of the,
Size of the water.
Size of
Water
the
main going down.
waiver.
It's not big enough. Usually it's got to be at least, what, a 12-inch?
so if we don't, or if we say, you know, sprinkle it, can they?
It just wouldn't be effective. There wouldn't be enough water
The water
pressure.
main's not big enough, they don't have enough pressure.
So then we would have to do something with the water.
The village would have to replace the whole water main, tying into the largest main in the area and then running it same size all the way down Waverly.
Right now, the majority of the people in this front offices, and this front offices are all sprinkled, plus smoke and heat detectors, okay? So in a commercial facility, you usually want to protect the building. In this case, they're protecting the front of the building so that people can get out of it. All right, that's what they're trying to do. That's why I put that up there, to protect the people so they can get out, not just the building.
Okay.
I also have a payroll change form for 3 part-time firefighter paramedics that have all passed their background. Chief Hotwagner would like to have that on the consent agenda to hire these 3 One of them was a part-time prior, he moved out of state, came back. Another one is a part-time firefighter, just passed paramedic training in a town adjacent to Midlothian. And we have a new one who's actually currently on a list to be hired outside in a full-time department. But it's 3 individuals that he could use right now, so they are replacing individuals who have resigned or moved on to full-time positions, so.
These are actually on the agenda for approval.
These are, okay. And I would like to make a motion to approve the 3 part-time firefighter paramedics to be added to the payroll for the fire department.
I'll second.
And the 3 individuals are on the agenda, so. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Kaveny?
Aye.
Trustee Crowley?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just want to say that this is very encouraging news because we were down to what? 5
Yeah.
part-timers, and we usually keep the roster at 12. So, and we weren't, they just aren't out there. It's very encouraging news, and it's going to really help with all the overtime, so.
Let's hope they stay.
Yeah, well, the one came back from Tennessee. Memphis wasn't the greatest place, I guess. I don't know. And I think it's a testament to the department, the chief, and the way you guys run things over there.
And we are under, any position that's part-time, their main objective is to get hired full-time, so, and that's not something we frown on. We hope that they do move on, and, hopefully, I believe one of these individuals tested and may be on our list when it becomes available, hopefully at the end of next month, so that'll be encouraging. The only other thing is that we will have a couple more ornaments to raffle off next board meeting, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Cavity.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Weiner.
Okay, real quick on zoning, everybody's favorite topic. The question is, do you allow car vehicles places in B2 zoning?
What was that?
Do you allow car or vehicle establishments in the B2 zoning?
We don't currently. You're asking, do we want to?
Right. But you right now, in that table that I sent you last week, that table 6-2, it had on there that no cars, no convenience, no sales, nothing for vehicles to be in a B2 zoning. The recommendation is at least make it special use, which would be a text amendment to the zoning ordinance. Trustee Ivan went and marked up a map a little bit, and agree with that. Your list that you sent gave me, I believe, agree with that. And Don,
I did something, yeah.
never mind. Quite the list here on the changes here, and you put down some for special, and the only thing that you really didn't want to have in the zoning district, I believe, was motor vehicle service convenience, like a minus the Firestone, as an example.
In B2?
In B2.
But we already have them in B2.
That's correct.
We already have Firestone in B2. And then we have the other,
Edcart, whatever.
well, no, across the street from the train station on the north side of the street on
A1.
147th and Abbotsford.
A1.
Yeah. So we already have those in B2, so you want to get rid of them?
Well,
I mean, that means when those businesses want to sell, they have to sell, they've got to change their use.
I think special
And
use.
that A1 has been a muffler shop as long as I've lived here for 30
And
years.
he's taking really good care of that property, actually. I mean, I would think, for those of us who went through the very, and Don, you were here, you were on the board, the hard economic times, I would say special use. I mean, ideally, we would love to have this quaint downtown with all of these wonderful shops, but without a TIF in
That would require a lot
place.
of new construction too, because none of our
I was
buildings
gonna say,
are
exactly,
quaint.
but without a TIF and some incentive,
Quaint.
yeah, we don't have a lot of quaintness. And again, we want pedestrian oriented, but we also need to be realistic about this. We don't want to have a bunch of vacant buildings.
Special use gives us the flexibility.
Exactly, the board can say no, But at least we would have that option.
So this is the current zoning map that you have in the downtown area, right, the 2019 map that we have, right? And I went and went here, and the thing is, depends how long that, you had all this as B2, when that's where the Keystone condos are. You had that whole block was B2. Went over here, and took this triangle, and took it from R5 back to single-family residential. Took where the, what do you call that foundation?
Edco.
Made it B2, so you have some control over that. And then this is the chemical factory, you have to go back to yellow, this R5. The little diamond right here, that's the cell tower, that's durable home. Durable is also zone R5, that needs to be blue, a couple of these blue areas are missed. And all these homes right here will go back to R2. Same with these blocks right here, that you have zoned, I think R4, 3 of those, that go back to R2 also, so people can sell their homes.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Whatever they want to do, and that would put it back to more of what it was like.
I really understand what the goal was for that, you know, that zoning in 09 or whatever that was. But just give a point of reference, Right Way Auto, the little dealer on 145th and PULASKI is averaging $7 million a year in sales. And they're pretty small dealerships. So it's just, that's revenue. We get 1%. What is that? 1%, I think. So.
And also, right across from Village Hall here, where it was all outlined in B2, R5 in the middle, that's putting all those homes also back to R2. So those people can sell goods with their houses.
Yes.
What did you say the durables and the Quemexes are going to be?
That'll be OI.
OI.
Office industrial, that's what they were zoned for.
Oh, okay.
I missed this with Robinson over here. I took the parking lot, I took Edca, put that to B2. That way it matched what's on the other side of Hamlin. It also matched what's on 147th Street. And it gives you control if they want to keep a body shop or car place for the next owner, and it gives you that flexibility. So the biggest question is about doing an extensive rezoning or text amendment. You want to go back and allow in the B2 district automobile
Special use.
special use.
I would say special use.
Yes, I agree.
That's going to be a text amendment, so you know. And then the next thing that you would have to, after the text amendment, you do that, but then you want to address a month down the road, not making this the R5 like it is from B2, changing this triangle back, changing all this back, changing all this back to what it should be versus what you have before.
So this map that's on the agenda is your proposed changes? Your
Correct.
proposed map, okay.
Correct. Is this, they can't sell their houses here, they can't sell their houses here, or the businesses can't even do anything with the business because they're not zoned for it. And this up here is zoned R5 when it's single-family residential. Same with this, she's going back to single-family residential. So
For
those
small
people
lots.
can do stuff with their house.
For small lots, right.
Sounds good.
Did we ever fix 146 on Knox?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
we
we
want
asked that,
Knox.
didn't we?
No, we did not.
No.
Should we do that now? too?
Well, 146 in Knox, those are those two flats?
2 flats.
No, well, I haven't addressed that at all. I think that's the first time you brought it up.
I'm just asking, since that was an issue.
There is, for the one lots that are zoned along with this, those are Scrivener's errors, except for the one lot on Waverly right here.
I think this map you attached has them in R2.
Right, so that right there was a change from OI to R2 by ordinance 3 years ago.
146 and Knox, those are the ones across from Burkhouse, right?
Yep.
Yep.
that were subject last summer and the summer before.
So we are or we are not doing anything with those this time?
Well, if the guy wants to put those back to whoever, wouldn't that person have to petition the board for a variance if you don't want to change them? Do you want to just change those 4 lots, or you want to have to petition the board for a variance?
I don't think you should have to petition for a variance because it's
Put it to what they are now.
It wasn't our group, I don't know if it was.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if it was.
25 years ago, it might have been, okay. yeah.
You know, I mean,
R2,
to,
which is single-family residential.
They need to be R5.
Or I don't know, I
no,
forget-
not R5.
I forget which R it is for allowing duplexes.
It would be R3 or R4.
Those are the red ones between Knox and Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And we're good, and we can legally do that part of the block as a group and not be spot zoning, right?
Sure. They wouldn't be a variance. It would be a change in zone.
Yeah, we can change that zone.
If you want to change the zoning for that.
And put it back to,
Actually,
I don't know what it was before.
no,
We-
that
if
side
you-
is not what the red
If you,
is.
if you remember, they were zoned,
It would be here, right?
I don't remember what they were zoned before, but when the Village rezoned it in 2009, they changed them back to R2.
Right there.
So the way they're showing on this map is correct per the way the
Ordinance is today.
ordinance is today. So they're asking that they get changed back to R3 or R4.
But as you go up in the Rs, the size of the lot increases, so
Right,
they're all
so,
50-foot wide lots.
so, well, the problem is, maybe what needs to happen is, they want to be able to rebuild if the house burns down.
And
Well,
sell as a two-flat.
and sell it as a 2-flat. So if they asked for a variance, if the village gave them a variance, we could give them a variance. A variance could be granted with the stipulation that the footprint of the house does not change. Because if we give them, if we change it to R3 or R4, they're allowed to build a bigger building. But because the lot is smaller, it's a residential, it's a single-family residential sized lot, not a multifamily sized lot, then we would give them the stipulation that they could rebuild it as a 2-unit building, but the footprint of the house cannot change. So that way, the setbacks of the current building would be kept in place. It would remain the same. Because 3 out of the 4 of those properties, when you drive by, they actually look like split levels. They don't look like a 2-unit, a traditional 2-unit building.
So all right, so they're considered multifamily. So you'd have to find a residential designation that is for multifamily.
We have, it's R3 or R4. We have.
And there's, in that part, it does say lot size, square footage of a lot.
All our Rs have a lot size. I mean, I have to look it up, I have to see what it is. Okay.
I think that-
R2 is a small lot size, it's 6,125 square feet.
We would like to do something in those 4 lots to help those owners out, but, and now I don't know what we can do if we change the R factor. It also talks about the square footage of the home, the resident building, minimum square footage.
Minimum square footage of a single-family house.
So that's why we have to look at it and make sure that we wouldn't have to do this and put some sort of variance on it.
You have a significant, your problem is that not only do you have lot size, but you also have percentage of lot coverage.
Correct.
You can't exceed a certain percentage, if they have a certain yard size, if they have a certain building size. There's a
So-
lot of small lots, 6,125 square feet.
So essentially, if there was any damage done to those properties, if they wanted to rebuild, they would essentially have to rebuild the exact same thing. They couldn't modify it at all. It would have to be the same.
I'll take a look at it,
Okay.
and get back.
See what our level.
I'll look at our levels, look at the lot size, and I'll take a look at those, see if that can be done.
We're good with the rest of the
Okay, so I'll start the proceedings next get this stuff going for special use in B2 for convenience, auto sales, and like they do the light repairs, you know, if they want to do a brake job, or they want to replace the windshield, or change the exhaust system, stuff like that, but not for heavy repairs like taking out engines and stuff like that, and junk cars.
So A1 Auto, are they a light auto repair? They just do mufflers and oil changes and tires on Abbotsford, 147th and Abbotsford?
Right, they just like a Midas or Midas,
Okay.
you know, Firestone. They're that convenient style. You're gonna bring your car, we're gonna get the oil change, new tires, muffler. That's good.
Cool, thank you. Anything else, trustee Cabney?
No, as a matter of fact.
Trustee Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor. As we know, we needed a new HVAC system for the police department, and I'd like to make a motion to approve that expenditure at a cost not to exceed $8,700.
I'll make the motion. Oh, no, you made the motion, I'll second, sorry.
Is there any discussion? Is it installed yet?
Pardon me?
Do you know if it's installed yet?
I do not.
They were.
They're up there now. They're up there now. Or they were.
They left there all day, and they were up there, and I came back at 6:30.
Take advantage of the nice weather.
Hoping they don't fall through.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Killy.
Aye.
Trustee Cabney.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to hire SSA, the people that ground the sidewalks down to make them even, to remediate the sidewalk trip hazards, because the expenditure is going to be a 2-year, we're going to have them for 2 years, so we'd like to approve hiring them.
This question?
On the south, they're going to be on the southeast
Yes.
section, which is the worst area in the world.
$12,730 to take care of all of the problem areas in the southeast quadrant. So probably, I actually went out and watched them do this to one of the worst sidewalk get heaved, mostly because of an old tree. And it's pretty nice. It works out pretty nice. And the nice thing is that we're not paying the hundreds of dollars per square to replace the square just to have it get heaved again within a couple of years because of the roots of the trees. So there's a motion.
Yes, it is.
And there's a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Killy.
Aye.
Trustee Cabney.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We'd like to make an offer to, a job offer for the position of maintenance one utility worker to hires to come up to staff. One person retired a few weeks ago, so I'd like to make a motion to make a job offer for the position of maintenance one worker.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Crowley.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killy.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Cabney.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and on the subject of potpourri, 2 weeks ago I had on the agenda about possibly finding ways to look at the amount of video gaming in Midlothian. And the reason it really comes to mind is that, I have a lot of customers in our store from Oak Forest and all over, and I've had more than a few comments from people outside town saying that we have a tremendous amount of video gambling. And we don't know how we have so much video gambling in a small town like ours. And, video gambling by itself doesn't bother me, but when the people use it as their modus operandi, and they don't try to have a business that really is a going business. We have some great, I think this comes up in restaurants a lot, and we have some great restaurants, Hog Wild, Bartolini's, which does have video gambling, but they use it for their own clientele. A lot of others, Gumwag, Canute's, so on and so forth. And Canute's advertises it too. But since we have a 60/40 breakout there, I think we have some businesses that believe that they can run a business successfully if they have a lot of video gambling. So they advertise video gambling, hardly anything about their business, which...
Don't we have the ordinance that says that it has to be...
60/40.
Yeah, it has to-
40% gambling. I'd like to, 40% gambling, 60% general revenue from their business. So it doesn't make me happy, and I don't think it helps Midlothian either, because we want people to come because of a legitimate business that has a great business model, like the Hogs, like the Bartolini's, so on and so forth. Not for people who are advertising video gambling. We don't want to be known as Video Gambling City. It happens, it makes revenue, it's fine for the people that are there. But I would like to suggest, instead of the 60/40, that we change it to 70/30. I think that might deter some businesses who feel they could just operate their business with a minimal business operation and make it on the video gambling.
How many video gaming salons do we have that are just
Just gaming cafes?
just gaming cafes, right? gaming cafes.
Where you would have the list. So currently, there's 2 newer that will have to abide by the 60/40, and they're not even come close, so we won't be allowed to renew their license come April. What happens is that they come in, they're already aware of the ordinance, and they give us a business plan that they say will abide by that, will work and abide by that ordinance. It's virtually impossible for a 1,500 square foot strip mall unit to have enough room to even hold enough product to sell and make up that 60%. It's impossible. So there's been 2 others that approached me, and I explained to them, and they were realistic and said, yeah, that's not possible. So the 60/40 is going to work. There will probably be 2 come April that we won't renew because they have nowhere near matched the 60/40. And I think the word's out then that it's pointless to ask for another.
And what is the time frame of the year that we get this information? Because I realize that they have to provide, is it their tax return or something? And
Maggie spot checks with the state, and I've asked her on a regular basis to keep checking. That's why I know at least one of them is not even close.
Right, but I mean, is that how the treasurer is doing it?
Yes.
She checks with the state, but what information can the state provide?
They have to, well, we get the gaming revenues from the state, from the gaming board, and then we also get the sales tax.
revenue.
From the, what they put in for sales tax, what they put in for revenue.
Gross sales.
Gross
Okay.
sales.
And when is that information available every year?
She can get it every month, so we've been spot checking every 3 months. And
Okay.
I know that we're in November now, and
Okay.
the last time we checked it, I mean, it was,
Okay.
and there's not enough months left to, incorporate.
When we passed that, it was designed to prevent
Future.
gaming cafes from opening, right? Where we're strictly gaming. And so it only applied to some that open however many months after, exactly what, May 1st after whatever the year was.
So it just applied to newer ones, not ones that were
Not
existing?
existing
We
residences.
couldn't make it
When they
retroactive?
close or change ownership, they're subject to the new ordinance.
Okay. So that means that we do have some gaming cafes that are in business right now that are not subject to that rule and probably
A number, yeah.
wouldn't even,
But when they close,
Make
they will
most-
be replaced with another gaming cafe.
Or they
There
sell.
are a lot of them that are changing hands, so.
And they have to present to me a business plan model that will at least try to prove that they can abide by that. If they give me that, I can't legally deny them,
Right.
you passed a background check, you're telling me that you're gonna do this, and I tell them, we are going to check you throughout the year, and come April, when renewals come up, If you haven't met it, then you won't get renewed.
So is it, we renew business licenses January 1st. What gets renewed in April? Is there?
Liquor license.
Oh, I see, okay.
April.
All right.
So I think the 60/40 is going to work. It's not going to get rid of the existing cafes that were prior to that ordinance being passed, but like I said, there's been two approach me since those two that are open now, and they backed away because they were aware enough to know that there's no way that I mean, I don't know, even Gracie's, he's gonna so we got to just say about Gracie's. We went to the grand opening on Saturday, and phenomenal place. The guy, Dennis and his partner and his wife, they did a great job of it. Even that, depending on what gaming you do. Now the state's allowing a sixth machine, which makes no sense because.
A what machine?
A sixth machine. And that makes no sense because the 5 machines in these establishments aren't being used now. So what the state did was say, hey, we're going to give you a 6th machine, but we're going to take 5% more of your profit. So I don't know how that's going to affect it either.
And they're going to add casinos. And, we're not going to get all these thousands of new people. It's just going to water down what's currently there.
The casino, the Southland Casino will stop people, a lot of people from going to Indiana, but the gaming cafe, there's not a new pool of gaming money out there right now. So you go into any place right now, go look at the machines. All 5 are not being used. So adding a 6th machine is not helping anything. But the state wanted another 5% of the revenue, so they told all the business owners you can have a 6th.
So if businesses decline to add a 6th machine, is the state still going to take that extra 5%?
Yeah. But they're upping the max bet from $2 to $4. But again, as Karen said, I mean, there's not some big pool of money
Exactly.
out there that we're missing. It is what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, someone might like a certain establishment, and they might go from, this machine's not paying out, so they'll go to the next machine. But it's not like all 5 machines are being used at all the time, and they need this 6th machine.
And there's never a line. I've
There's
never
only
walked
been
anywhere to see.
one business owner that has approached me and says, I need that 6th machine because mine are always busy. Unfortunately, I pay attention when I'm out getting dinner or stuff, and they're not always busy. So the 6th machine's not going to add, we're not going to attract people from Iowa to come gambling in Midlothian because there's a 6th machine.
Right.
I'm very frustrated with the state and how they set up this whole gaming thing, and
I think we all are.
it's just.
I think we all are.
So it's up to the board. I think the 60/40 thing is going to work. It's just going to take some time to play out. And when we don't renew these 2 licenses come April, the word will get out. Like I said, the other 2 that approached me, they've already backed away because they know it's impossible. So I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Is it possible to have the liquor commission share with the board what the percentages are of current businesses that need to apply to that 60/40?
Yeah, I get you the names and addresses.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how close or how far some of the businesses are doing with that.
I don't think you can even give out the sales data.
It was.
You can give the percentage though.
It was 99 to 1 gaming to other.
Not even close. Well, again, and I
There's
think,
not enough room, these little
Right.
strip mall units, there's
Yeah,
not enough
what are you
room
gonna
for any
sell?
product.
Right.
Even if you sold 100 cases of cigars a month, which is impossible, that still doesn't make up for, it's
Right,
impossible.
Square footage doesn't.
It was literally 99% gaming, 1% other.
And they have to know that going in from day one.
He told me he was going to put in all these different other revenue sources, and I personally walked in my work clothes and just kind of peeked around just about 6 months ago. It's nothing like so. I think it's going to work. I think the ordinance, I think you brought it to the board, I think back then.
done actually. I think we both did a couple years ago. We did.
Well, it's just some restaurants that are actually not in business anymore, but some of the restaurants just advertise for months at a time. they advertise video gambling, so obviously,
The cafes were taking business away from them.
Yes,
That was as much to
yes.
protect businesses we
but
had.
why
as it
open
was-
up a business if you have to, if you have to rely on your business to stay open on video gambling, you should, it's,
Should be open,
that's
yeah.
extra profit, but it isn't supposed to keep your business open, so in my own mind, I'm thinking 60/40 is great, 70/30 is really going to get the message across, but Mayor, if you're explaining to these people what's going on, and I talked to Maggie said she has the ability now to check every month, whereas before it was every quarter.
Right.
And so, I guess to see how it's going to work out, but again, we don't, to your point, the video gambling in the state of Illinois, total all receipts increased 2.2% last year, so, of everything. So, I mean, more casinos aren't going to help out, more casinos are going to wipe out some of our people too. But if you think it's, needs more time, then that's fine. It just makes me a little angry when people don't promote their business, they promote video gambling to an excess.
And I'm concerned, maybe some of these businesses signed multi-year leases, and they're gonna have, I don't know how they're gonna get out of their leases, because, I mean, usually you sign a lease for more, businesses, it's typically more than 1 year, right? You're shaking your head, Jerry?
And I'll tell you that there's actually one business, it's a gaming cafe, that the gaming company is going to pull the machines because they're not making enough. So.
It's not even the village has to worry about it because the gaming company's going to take care of it.
It's oversaturated.
Yep.
It's oversaturated. You can go just about anywhere and lose money because they're all designed to lose, so. I don't know, it's, like I said, I'm not very frustrated with the state has handled this and put the onus on the little tiny municipalities to try to root out organized crime, I guess, is what they're thinking was.
Now we have gas stations that are open 24 hours that can have 24-hour gambling available too.
Yeah, you have to sell so much gas and diesel to qualify for it, and they get 10 machines. Ricky Rockets can put in 10 machines. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like just people sitting at home waiting for another machine to show up. Oh, I'm gonna go out and go lose my money now because there's another machine. I mean,
How appealing, go to a gas station and gamble. Boy, does that sound like a fun night out, huh? Or fun afternoon? Superintendent Weiner, you're rolling your eyes?
Or else you have to do it 4 in the morning, yes.
When we get permits, put a wall and separate like the gas station things like ours. Yeah, they put a wall and separate the gaming from the gas station. And what they don't realize is people pull up to the pump and they say, oh, they leave the car parked there, and they go stick $20 each. Well, while they're there for 15, 20 minutes, I know what cars are full of gas. They don't have parking for the machines, not like most gas stations. You just pull in, get, and then fill up and go. You see it all the time.
it's not good. So it's up to you if you wanna, I think the 60/40 is gonna work.
Your opinion, you're dealing with it all the time, so
Oh,
it needs
okay.
more time to, it
I
needs
was
more
just on the
time.
phone with a gentleman today. He wanted me to ask the board to grandfather him in. I'm like, you're selling the business. Yeah, but, I'm like, yeah, but nothing, you can't. I mean, when was the ordinance?
He's selling the business, so the new person would have to,
By the ordinance. He wanted the village board to agree to grandfather him in prior, the ordinance was passed in
that was a couple
It's
years
like 2
ago.
years ago, it was
17,
right
17.
after we came.
17, right?
Yeah, it was a couple
No.
years
16 or
ago.
It was before us.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
We were
16?
in the audience.
We were, and it was pretty close then.
So he's selling his business now, and wants his grandfather to a 3-year-old ordinance. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's illusions of grandeur out there of making a lot of money in these machines. And like you said, Midlothian's already oversaturated. It's clearly, we're getting one place the gaming company's pulling the machines. So.
Okay.
Talk again in April, I mean, and to.
Yeah, maybe you could give us an update in
Yeah.
April, and we can revisit it, but if you think it needs more time, then fine.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
And that's
Anything
all,
else?
Mayor.
Trustee Crowley.
Just a couple things tonight, sir. Just a reminder that the CPC toy drive is in full force. We will be collecting toys in a number of locations throughout the village up until December 13th, I believe. The Community Service Committee's meeting is this Thursday at 7 o'clock here in Village Hall. We are having a health insurance meeting at the Village Hall on Monday at 5:45, if anybody's interested. I did send an email to the entire board. And our next IT meeting, which we will be getting all the details for the installation of our new server, will be December 2nd. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, ma'am, and I'm told that it was Chief Delaney's birthday on Monday. He turned 31.
Well, that was a nice effort, sir. Yes,
Close.
31.
Should we sing happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sandy, you're having your community service
To you.
meeting on Thursday in here?
Happy birthday.
Oh,
To you.
then I'll be
To
in
you.
here with the plan commission. Nobody else is having the meeting here Thursday besides the two of us, are there? That you know?
What's the day that everything's booked up? Is that Thursday, tomorrow?
Tomorrow. I've got a plan commission meeting tomorrow here.
I can move to, I
Are you
mean,
trying
well,
to set up?
Historical
Plan
Society is
commission meeting.
available.
it's too late for.
And tomorrow?
7.
There was one day, I thought it was tomorrow, that everything's all booked up.
So what, but you're down here, I'll be up there.
Service
Yeah.
committee's gonna be in the mayor's office, is what we,
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow, right?
We have a small
tomorrow.
group, so we can go in the conference room if
We
you
do
want.
too.
That's-
We're always in the small one.
Yeah, don't forget about the Historical Society. It's a
down
good
here?
place for a meeting.
court. Court?
Yeah.
Court is here.
Oh, court's in here tomorrow?
Yeah, Thursday.
Which
That's
court?
what's making it-
Oh,
Well, I don't
ticket
know.
court?
So Rita
Oh.
talked to
Parking ticket
Terry
courts.
Stevens, and I guess they agreed to meet in the mayor's office,
Oh.
because everything else is booked up. Somebody's in the conference room.
Yes. This room is Thursday.
Who's got the conference room?
I don't know.
You do.
offhand. I just
Moves
know
court,
it's-
you, I guess we're going to the mayor's office.
Okay, well, how do I get a key to the Historical Society?
You're in there.
You looking for a place for tomorrow or Monday?
Tomorrow.
You're in there, Kathy.
Tomorrow,
Okay.
I'll probably will be.
No, tomorrow. That's what I thought, that's what you said, I thought you
I thought
felt.
you were talking
Any-
All right, well, they've already figured it out.
Anytime you need the Historical Society, just let Public Works, they can get, and Gene has a key, if we can access that, and just
The key's
shut
under
off
the
the,
mat.
and just shut off the alarm.
Or just call me and I can go open it.
Okay.
Okay,
Because
I'll
it's a
remember
good
that
meeting
for next
space for a
month.
small group.
Okay. Sorry about that.
There's enough room in there for 2 meetings at the same time,
Okay.
2 separate rooms, so.
Thank you.
Attorney Valdez.
Yes, just have to remind the board again that because December 18th is the last board meeting of the year, the village will have to adopt a position with regard to recreational cannabis. The survey that the village has put out to answer the question is going to be open until the 13th, so that leaves us a very small window.
Is it out? Is it open? Is it out?
It's going out, yes, it should be going out, I think, this week, the end of this week.
Well, definitely on the website. I don't know about the printed.
And then the printed postcards will be going out. That postcard will read, to Village of Midlothian residents, on January 1st, 2020, recreational use and sale of cannabis will be legal in the state of Illinois. Under the new law, local municipalities may opt out of allowing recreational cannabis dispensaries. The law allows municipalities to tax recreational dispensaries up to 3%. Should the Village of Midlothian allow recreational cannabis dispensaries within the village boundaries? We want to hear from you, and then residents will be able to respond online. They will be directed online through the postcard that will be issued, and those postcards and surveys will be completed on Friday, December 13th. So we have 5 days after that to craft an ordinance. It should be understood that if the village does not act to prohibit dispensaries, then they will be legal in the law.
Can we cut that date back to the 10th? That would give us time to discuss it at the committee meeting prior to the board meeting.
I think we'll have a pretty good response before the 13th, by the 10th, so
Yeah.
I think we could probably have a fair idea of what we're looking at.
And when's the postcard going out?
As soon as it gets printed.
Is it
And-
at the printers?
Crossmark? Yeah,
I
cross.
don't know exactly where the status of the card is, but as soon as it gets
It's wrong-
printed, we
it's wrong.
will mail it.
I mean, is it in
It's gonna- it
process?
takes-
Has it been
Yes,
sent to the
it's been-
printer?
It's been,
I don't know if it's been sent to the printer. It's, I think it's been worked on and finished
The
up,
text is
right?
done, it's complete, it's ready to go to the printer.
Right, give
So
it,
either today or tomorrow it will,
give it to Crossmark?
I don't know who the printer is.
Crossmark's the guys you want.
Whoever decided,
Right.
they made that decision.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Speaking of Friday, December 13th, that's going to be the annual village Christmas party for all the employees and staff and board, and bring a loved one, and should have a good time. Same as usual, catered food, music, dancing.
So it's going to be on a Friday, not a Thursday?
Friday 13th, we,
Your own,
yes, be a Friday.
your own play, yeah. Never mind.
Okay, under my business, I put on the agenda a discussion for renewing the dues for the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, $666.86, and then, of course, I attached the email that shows everything the Mayor's Caucus does for all their member communities. They're a wealth of information, pretty much daily information out of them, plus they're lobbying another group to lobby for municipalities. The biggest thing is with the new Chicago mayor, they're getting her more involved, working together with the suburbs, which has always been a good thing, or could be a good thing. But so I would like this on the consent agenda for approval next week.
I guess my question would be, it looks like they do have a lot to offer, but unfortunately, this is the first I'm seeing of it. So is there anybody that's actively participating in the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus from the village? Because I think that's really
Myself.
important. Pardon me?
Me, yes.
And going to the meetings and,
Going to events and a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, but they're a
yeah, I just think it's
very large
important.
group, and they're very powerful, and they're...
When are their meetings?
uh,
Could any of us go?
I guess I could ask. I get the regular email, so I will share who those are. But,
I mean, I
Are
just
they
think it's real
monthly?
important, like with SSMMA, I'm trying to go there as often as I can, and it's really valuable when you're there and the information you pick up and and just the networking that you do.
No,
Bring-
I think it's an excellent idea for the mayor to hang out with the other mayors myself.
Okay, so consent agenda next week? I don't think, let's see, Comcast can wait till next week. That's all I have for tonight. Just reminder, I sent an email this afternoon about the trustee Crowley writing us about the Park District use agreement with Radiate Lodge. Just look it over, and we'll get it on the agenda for next committee meeting, so we can discuss to see if we want to make any amendments, so.
You know, actually, I read it, and because you asked me last night, did I?
Sent me an email.
Yep, we're too late this year,
Yeah, 60
Well,
days.
60 days.
I actually would like the Attorney Valdez to look at that, because I think we might have some wiggle room with that, with the way it's worded, but I just want him to take a look at it, if you don't mind.
Maria will make me a copy. Clerk Mosco?
I just have one item, and that's a reminder that our meeting Wednesday will be abbreviated. I think everything we have on the agenda is already on the consent agenda, but just a reminder. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employee or employees of the public body.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We are in closed session. There will be no further action following closed session.